A score written on a scorecard doesn't tell half the story of what actually happened on the course. Jitterbug Bell. Jitterbug always knew the answer. To say Jitterbug taught me golf is to leave a great deal out. He taught me as much about life, or, well, rather inspired me to teach myself. When I think of Jitterbug, he often brings to mind a character that might be most brilliantly played by Morgan Freeman. Not just in appearance, but also the calm, quiet certainty with which he conducted himself, whether shooting 64 or 74. He once told me, "Bobby, how you play golf shows a little bit about your character. How you lose at golf shows all of your character." I remember playing golf with Jitterbug the first day after I'd shot my first ever round in the 60s. Now I could hardly wait to share the story of my personal triumph with the man who'd shown me so much along the way. Just before we were to go out as a twosome, and before I could go into detail about my great round, a young lady came walking down to the tee. We welcomed her in, and she introduced herself as Karen. Well, after seeing us tee off, I could tell Karen was nervous. "Guys, I'm not that good. I sure hope you're patient," she said. We told her to take her time and not to worry about it. Well, Karen took a practice swing before dribbling her tee shot some 18 to 20 feet, barely clearing the teeing ground. "Oops, sorry guys, look, if there's something I'm not doing right, feel free to tell me." Well, that was all I needed to hear. This was my chance to show Jitterbug how far I'd come. Now, Karen appeared to be athletic, and I knew I could sort her troubles out in a matter of seconds. I started with her grip. After that, I corrected her posture, her ball position, her forearm rotation, her pivot, her weight transfer, her finish, but it didn't matter what I said. For 14 painful holes, Karen didn't get a single ball in the air. The more I asked her to relax, the tighter she held the club. Well, after Jitterbug and I hit our tee shots on the par 3 15th hole, Jitterbug stood motionless as Karen made her way to the ladies' tee. "What are you waiting for, Jitterbug?" "I'm waiting for you to take the handcuffs off that young lady." Whoa, handcuffs? What do you mean? She asked for help on the first tee." "Well, you're exactly right, Bobby. The first tee. Not the first fairway, the first green, the second tee, the second fairway, and every time she stopped to hit the ball since then." Well, Karen arrived at her tee before looking back to ours. "Okay, now what?" she asked, expecting the barrage of instruction to continue. Not sure what to say, I looked at Jitterbug, who suddenly took on a different demeanor. Smiling, he said, "Now, Karen, I think Bobby finally figured out what's wrong. If you don't mind, Bobby, I'll tell her what you said." Well, before I could reply, he'd walked over to join Karen. "Now, Karen, what other games have you played before?" She said, well, softball and softball. Perfect. Let me see you swing that club like you were swinging at a softball." Karen took a swing as if reacting to a pitch down the middle of the strike zone. "Oh, that's beautiful. Now, show me how you would hit a low pitch, say if that ball was coming in around your ankles." Karen tilted beautifully, took the club back with poise and grace, and swung freely all the way to a complete finish. She stood there in perfect balance, as if imagining the line drive she'd driven deep to center field. Jitterbug took a ball out of his pocket and placed it on a tee. "Here, Karen, hit this low pitch." Well, things suddenly changed. Her white knuckles turned pink as she loosened her grip. Her arms hung freely. She stayed steady as she turned away from the ball and returned to impact with the explosive combination of power and club face, neither of which she'd successfully delivered all day. The ball took off as if shot from a cannon, still climbed as it neared the green. She looked at Jitterbug like it returned her lost child. Before she could say anything, Jitterbug said, "You was right, Bobby. That's exactly what it was." He then turned to Karen. "Now, Karen, you just remember to hit that low pitch for the rest of the day, and you can work on all that other stuff when you have the time to practice." When Karen was no longer in earshot, I said, "Well, Jitterbug, I suppose the lesson here is that I was talking when I should have been listening." "Oh, I don't know. Maybe you was just too busy telling to ever think about asking. But you're going to be fine. A fella can't never figure out the right way if he don't know all about the wrong way." Karen finished her round with the confidence that she could play golf, and I, reminded of what I'd always known. The Jitterbug is a true mentor, a man with whom I'll always be proud to walk the fairway.